Greetings. Greetings, everyone, especially those of you that are live tonight on. I'm still recovering from COVID. I'm Angelo Robles, by the way. And tonight, live, for those of you that are live, you could actively participate. I'd like to talk because I had so much time on my hands since Thanksgiving where I kind of got sick. I have so much content. That was the good part about getting sick. Maybe losing a couple of pounds didn't hurt either. But I'm here to talk about Family Office Day, January 26th. I'm going to be in Miami and I'm leading a special day with incredible programming that I've never done before. So I'm really excited about it with my good friends collaborating at Uncorrelated Alts, who do an incredible job around the world hosting some of the most incredible programs in the world of finance and family offices. And I'm really honored to be selected to really build out an incredible day of content at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton, Miami. So I look forward to that. And I wanted to have a chance to talk about that, some of the unique content. And then as we're wrapping up the year, talk a little bit about some initiatives I have in 2026. Right before we get to Family Office Day, I would like to mention those of you live. I'd like to mention my final program of the year. It's not actually today, it's tomorrow, Tuesday, December 23rd at 2 p.m. I'm going to be live Eastern time, and we're in for a treat. Last year, I wrapped up the year just like I'm doing this year with the same guest who is probably about the fastest rising star via programming social media in the world of finance, and that is Jordy Fisher, VISSER. Those of you that enjoy Anthony Pompliano know that he's a weekly guest there. He's doing incredible things relative in the world of AI, deep macro thinking, and Bitcoin. We have an incredible discussion for tomorrow. An hour and 20 minutes with Jordy is probably his longest platform of the year. So we're very excited about that. There's certain things we agree on and other things we don't. And we are going to get into it tomorrow. So hopefully you're going to have a chance to enjoy that. But without further ado, I would like to talk a little bit or a lot about Family Office Day Miami, January 26th, coming up in a little over a month. Everyone, again, I'm Angelo Robles. So a couple of things. One, $30 billion family offices got breached in the last 18 months. Cybersecurity, wire transfers rerouted literally mid-flight, trust documents sold on the dark web. And no one knows about it, of course, until it's too late. And most family offices don't like to report it. So that's already happening. And if you're running a family office right now, your operation, your family office was built for a world that just no longer exists. I like to talk a little bit about the math behind also what we're going to talk about in Miami. The S&P returns on average about 9% a year, but the money supply grows 8 to 10% a year. Factoring in inflation and taxation, you're not really building wealth. Even at 8, 9, 10%, you're really treading water. Look at it now. Mining stocks, and that's going to be important for rare earths, precious metals, and the build out in AI. Mining stocks are 1% of the S&P 500. That is the lowest in recorded history. Meanwhile, as I hinted, what does AI need? A lot more copper, lithium, and rare earths at scales that kind of don't exist as we're currently doing it on the planet. Intelligence, well, energy is turning into intelligence. Intelligence is becoming free, but materials are kind of finite. And the advisors that built a lot of your portfolios, even 5-10 years ago, they're running really models from like 1985. So we're going to cover those two important topics. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more tonight. I'd also like to talk about what I call the wrong question. Many of you are asking what state or country, I have a lot of international people, like has the lowest taxes. That's kind of the wrong question. The right question, how does my capital survive the next, I don't know, 100 years, regardless of what happens? Now, that requires a completely different architecture. So, Family Office Day Miami is my family office 1 day program, again, inside of the great uncorrelated alts, what they're calling uncorrelated Miami, hosted as mentioned in January, multiple days after my 1 day wraps up at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton in Miami. So I'd like to talk about one of the things I've been working on is kind of the 700-year proof. I'm like a vampire. Yes, I'm really that old. So I've worked inside the ecosystem of more than 100 billionaire families, really over 2 decades. So not 700 years. One of them, well, actually multiple of them in my trips to Europe, have been wealthy for hundreds of years, multiple centuries. Like imagine this, they survived the Black Death, Napoleon, 2 world wars, 4 collapsed empires, hyperinflation, communist seizures, currency resets in dozens of jurisdictions, yet still here, still wealthy, still intact. What do they know? What could we all learn that perhaps your current advisors don't? Now, 3 of them I have interviewed at my events and on my at family office on YouTube. You can look it up. The last one in person was in LA with Lorenzo Medici and the iconic Medici family. And there's many others that I can't mention, and so much to learn from. So one of the stories that I like to tell is what I call my Detroit paradox. Think of Detroit. Success creates resources. Resources create insulation. Insulation kills adaptation, and that really is the Detroit paradox. The automakers, US automakers in the 50s and at least part of the 60s were thriving until almost overnight they weren't. They saw the signals, they always do. They scheduled meetings about it, and I don't know, they went bankrupt or near bankrupt, or the government's bailing them out. You act too early may cost you money. Families and family offices and broadly investors that act too late, it could cost you everything. I like to share, and we're going to do some like live simulations on that January 26th with not just me, with some incredible people that I'm bringing with me to Miami. So I'll give you maybe one to start with, and we'll see if we're having time for maybe 2 or 3. They're relatively brief. One of them I'll call the wealth tax. Let me show you the difference between families that survive and families that don't. Imagine this. It's Friday at 5 p.m. You're an international family. Your primary jurisdiction just announced a 40% wealth tax, effective in 30 days. Remember, governments have the ultimate power. They could do what they want. Imagine having $8 billion in assets there. Now, you have the weekend. Monday morning, principal, I need a situation assessment, 3 viable options, and a recommended course of action. What do A players do? Which is not the majority of people, although I think many of you have that talent in you. A players by Sunday night, full memo with decision tree, preliminary calls to legal and tax specialists in multiple jurisdictions, asset mobility analysis already started. You gotta sometimes put in 168 hours a week. 3 paths with probability weighted outcomes. What does non-A players do? It's the weekend, it could wait to Monday. We'll schedule a meeting Monday and discuss, I don't know, forming a committee to address it. 30 days later, one family preserved their capital, and I guess another one certainly didn't, and paid 40%. Now, that may not be the most perfect scenario here in the US for US families. International families, when I travel to the Middle East, to Europe, LATAM, Asia, they understand that these things happen all the time. We have our own problems and very significant here in the US, and some of these will be more applicable. I will give another one. We'll call it the reputational threat. Thursday at 6 p.m., investigative journalist contacts you. Story's going to drop on Sunday in what, 60 hours? Alleging your real estate holdings displaced low income tenants. Now, they have internal emails. This could trigger, like, where do I start? Tenant lawsuits, political investigations, depending on the structure of the family, their real estate holdings, maybe LP redemptions, board seat complications at what multiple, in my example, public companies. A players, again, you got to put in the time on the weekend, my friend. Now, I agree, A players should be very, very well compensated. So family office principals wake up. You got a lot better job to do on that. So by Saturday evening, imagine getting a fact-based document. Legal exposure now is quantified. You have 3 response paths that have been analyzed, stakeholder communication plans built, a counter story placed with a friendly outlet, and crisis protocols are live. Already talking to journalists about the timeline. Already identify the source, of course, a disgruntled former property manager, and I don't know, $50 million affordable housing initiative ready to announce Sunday morning if needed. You could call that good PR. Sure, it still matters. Everyone else, well, let's hire a crisis PR firm by Monday and schedule strategy sessions next week. You are too slow. Too slow. That example, you might as well just be on the front page. I'll give one more. And again, these are real examples with incredible people that we're going to walk through and break down real scenarios for you, much more in detail than we're doing now. And the people that I got lined up, including my experiences in this, I'm very excited about. We'll call it the cyber breach. Tuesday, 11 p.m., a sophisticated breach. Hackers accessed financial records, trust documents, private family communications, portfolio company strategy docs. 50 million in, of course, Bitcoin, demanded by Thursday, or everything goes to the media and the dark web. The FBI will probably say don't pay. Again, A players, this time at least I have them working during the week. Wednesday by 6 p.m., the damage could be quantified. Threat landscape is mapped. 4 strategic paths analyzed, and in person we'll go over them in more detail. Worst case scenario planned, systems isolated, forensics still running. Already talking to 2 families from your powerful billionaire network that of course you have, who have been through this. You have dark web monitoring that is going live, identified that the real risk isn't embarrassment, it's portfolio company IP leaking to competitors. Could be hundreds of millions of dollars in value destruction. Everyone else convenes security experts and family meetings over, if you're lucky, the next several days, probably into honestly a week or two. So Thursday passes, everything leaks, and Friday, boom, you're on the front page. So what's kind of perhaps I would call it a pattern. In the 3 scenarios, actually, the patterns are relatively similar. A players move immediately in hours. They have the intelligence, they have the capability to communicate and to act, and they have the relationships, or they're 1 degree removed away from it. B players effectively schedule meetings. A players quantify, B players discuss. A players for sure execute, while B players coordinate. The gap is the difference between, honestly, preserved capital and catastrophic loss. Between a contained crisis and what could be, and every day you wake up, you don't know what's ahead of you, a generational disaster. Imagine one day impacting decades or longer of hard work, the reputation of the family, their assets, their resources. One day could effectively ruin everything. So the people that I'm talking about, in my experience with a lot of these generational families going back very far, we could go with the word a fixer. Do you like the wolf? Was that what it from Pulp Fiction? The Mr. Kaplan from Blacklist, if you like that show. So here's what I want you to understand. These scenarios to me are not really theoretical. I've spent 20 years building a team that really solves these kind of problems. Imagine cyber defense architects who contained could be billion-dollar breaches, jurisdictional strategists who move families across borders in days. Yeah, actually, sovereign risk and issues are one of my deepest experiences. I've done some interesting things in that over the years. Imagine real crisis specialists who kill stories before they ran, operators who solve problems your white shoe advisors they don't even know exist. I could get into Markovian and non-Markovian risk. We'll save that actually for a bit of a different time. This is kind of effectively what I do and have built over many years, being the founder of Family Office Association, having an exit, and building my private intelligence and consultative work that I do at SFO Continuity. Imagine not really being commentators, not theorists, but actual fixers who get things done. And in 2026, I think we're heading into a world that is going to be upside down. This is going to be more needed than ever. So I do believe 2026, well, every year has its own challenges, but will be a year like no other. A couple of things are happening here. And I think the signals are converging. Maybe during my COVID, I might have had a little too much time on my hands, but I got a lot done. So sovereign risk, back to one of my core specialties, is wickedly accelerating. Cyber threats are multiplying. The money printer with these governments isn't slowing down, and AI is rewriting every assumption about value creation. Listen to my live interview tomorrow with Jordy Fisher. The families who reposition this year will honestly be set for a long time to come. The families who keep on waiting, they'll spend a decade looking to recover if they recover at all. This year is the year to act, not next year, this year, 2026, so technically next year. And we built the programming to effectively make sure that you're ready. So I mentioned it's going to start, meaning in-person programming, January 26th in Miami at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton, what we're calling Family Office Day, and really limiting it to my members and maybe select other families, maybe 40 or 50 in total. One day, closed door. Incredible content because it's not really sponsor driven. And then you get a chance to be part of Uncorrelated that does an incredible job, and they're going to have hundreds of incredible attendees the next couple of days. So we're going to work through some of the scenarios that I noted live with real fixers. We're going to get deep into the Detroit paradox diagnostic, the hard asset playbook, and that is a playbook moving forward. The AI-proof investment matrix, which I've been working on, sovereign wealth architecture, and we got an incredible person to join me on that, and what I call counterparty risk restructuring, not theory, deployment frameworks. And you'll walk out, if nothing else, besides hopefully my incredible content and incredible setting, amazing peers around the room, but incredible speakers and what I call some of the fixers. You're actually going to meet some of them. The people you call when it's Tuesday at 11 p.m. and your world is on fire. Now, Miami's kind of really just the beginning, obviously, heading into still the first month in 2026. My private community, my intelligence and strategy community, SFO Continuity, is really how you stay connected all year. The intelligence, the frameworks, the access, and most importantly, the peers, the incredible families that are a part of the network, including some of the dynastic generational ones that go back hundreds of years with some of my relationships around the world. Now, Miami, again, about 40 families, becomes a network that you could really call on anytime. Not people per se who want to sell you something, but actual peers, people who have created generational people and running family offices at sometimes a very large scale, asking the same questions and facing the same threats. The relationships that you build, really technically over a couple of days, becomes people you could call on in a crisis, and there will be major issues in 2026. And this insight someone shares becomes the framework that could save you hundreds of hours, years of mistakes. And that's, to me, what membership really means. Exceptional content that's unique, that I take pride in, exceptional access, and incredible peers. And in this example, maybe more so than any other program I've ever done, a team of fixers kind of in your corner. Now, Miami in January is kind of a kickoff. I've got programming throughout 2026. Some of it's up on the events tab on my website at angelorobles.com. We're going to go deep into hard assets, AI transformation workshops, creating a top 1% family office, sovereign risk and disaster preparedness, really jurisdictional architecture sessions, and crisis simulations. You're going to get a taste of that in Miami. This is not a conference circuit. I don't want that either. Been there and done that in this community for decades. It's an operating system for family offices navigating really a decade of kind of discontinuity. And 2026, upcoming in days, is the time to plug in. I believe the compression zone, as I call it, it's closing. What I will tell you about those it was one family, I was going to say 5 and 700 years, one that goes back 1,100 years. I've interviewed them. It's up on my platform. They didn't wait for quote unquote proof until it's too late. They moved on signals. If you're running a family office and this resonates with you, if you want to see the signals, if you sense that the ground is shifting, how could you not? If you know your current playbook isn't necessarily optimal for what's coming, reach out to me directly. Now, some of you that will see this on my platforms, there's going to be various links. If you're listening and you want to be a part of the event on January 26th and the following 2 days at the wonderful Uncorrelated Alts Miami, you could go to uncorrelatedalts.com. You could learn more about the Miami program. You could reach out to me directly. My direct email is angelo@angelorobles.com. And again, my website is obviously my name, angelorobles.com. If you're going on the Uncorrelated website to Miami, you'll fill out a form, mention that Angelo Robles recommended, and hopefully it'll be an opportunity for me to meet you. I would look forward to that. And as I noted, you'll get access to an incredible event at my good friends at Uncorrelated on the following days, January 27th and 28th. They're actually at peak, probably going to have 600 to 700 attendees, a lot of incredible institutional investors, world-class speakers. So I think this is an incredible 3 days when you factor in the family office day, really my first program in 2026. Closed door session, the scenarios, the frameworks, the fixers, the peers. I'm telling you, you're going to mark my words when I come back on a year from today. 2026 is going to be a year like no other. The question is whether you're ready, or going back to what I gave in my scenarios, you're still scheduling effectively bureaucracy, mediocrity, scheduling meetings. Reach out, join my SFO continuity, join incredible families that I have around the world, and get an opportunity to come to Miami. And I hope, of course, to see some of you there. Now, a little bit of kind of what I've been working on and what's ahead. Well, you kind of know about Family Office Day in Miami now. In the greater New York area, I'll be hosting some member only breakfast and soirees. And my largest annual program of the year, 4 days in Palm Beach, begins on March 16th. I'll have a lot more about that upcoming in the coming weeks. But if you were to go to my website, you'll see I got little areas you could click on and events and thumbnails that will take you to a very detailed page about the event. Again, primarily dedicated to my membership. So actually being a little bit under the weather with COVID the last couple of weeks actually did some good for me. It allowed me to really prepare for what I could do better heading into 2026. And content, I just wrote like there was no tomorrow. So my members have gotten my family office playbook. Some of you, and definitely my members, have gotten my 10 things you could do with AI. And I had to update that 4 times since the summer because that's where things are changing. And you'll learn more about that with me and Jordy Fisher tomorrow. But I have another book called Billionaire Mastermind. I had a chance to complete it. My members are going to get early access beginning on Monday. And then I'm working with the publisher of getting that released probably March or April. So it will become at a nominal fee broadly available. But my members are going to get the direct connectivity, the frameworks, and what I'm going to host around that in person as well as digital throughout the year. So wrapping up on some books was very important. And I've been talking about 2 handbooks. I can't believe they're each now 600 PowerPoint slides each. One is Creating a Top 1% Family Office, and the other is Sovereign Risk and Disaster Preparedness for the Super Rich and Family Offices. I believe they're both the most comprehensive work in those 2 subjects that have ever been done in the family office community. Both of them effectively took years. And now with what's going on around the world, with all that I've learned, with AI impacting everything, it's the perfect time to put a bow on it and release it. Now, far more than just a massively huge, quote unquote, handbook to be released to my members in the early to mid first quarter in 2026. That will be converted along with what I did this past year with my AI Family Office Masterclass into other masterclasses on creating a top 1% family office and sovereign risk and disaster preparedness. My work on that is by far the most comprehensive in the industry. You don't get 600 plus PowerPoint slides, but it's so much more than that. The storytelling, the context behind it. That will include digital and in-person programming. I may make some of it available to non-members, but like my AI Family Office Masterclass, that will be at a fee. There's value added in joining and being a member. I've been in this community for decades, would love to have you be a part of it. You know how to reach out to me at angelorobles.com or direct email at angelorobles.com. Angelo at angelorobles.com. You got to forgive me. I'm still recovering from a little bit of COVID, but getting stronger every day. My bone broth is a little bit of my secret serum and olive oil, but I don't want to give all my health secrets away. Sardines would be another, but we'll save that for a little bit of a different time. Hey, but for 80 years old, man, I'm feeling incredible and could still bench 275. Not bad for an old man. So 2026 is going to be incredible, where many of you, honestly, just want me to be honest, have fallen down. You're not really buying into the AI the way that I've been into it really for 18 months. But this year, I mean, come on, there's not even been a close voice other than mine relative, not just from a framework of investing, but a deeper perspective and someone who I'm building my own apps and programs, and I have no idea about technology. But I'm using vibe coding, and am I learning? I'm creating some pretty cool and incredible apps. I have a team of AI agents. I'm not someone talking about it and only investing in it. I'm actually teaching it, doing it, and consulting and working with families on it. And that will be a little bit of my discussion with Jordy, because he's actually doing something similar to hedge fund managers in the world of finance. So tomorrow, live, meaning Tuesday at 2 p.m. is really going to be an incredible, maybe I could get him to stretch an extra 10 minutes and do an hour and a half. We shall see. But it's going to be an incredible 2026. I didn't even get into LA, New York, what I'm doing in the summer, additional master classes and other programming. Like, aren't many of you just tired of the traditional circuit in the family office community? Sponsor after sponsor, mediocrity in programming, not people that are actual builders and doers, people that work deeply with families, consult, have made all the mistakes, that's me, and hopefully have done a couple of things right and learned some lessons along the way. So sure, would love for you all to jump in and be a part of what I'm building. My website is comprehensive with what I do in masterclasses, in consulting, and in membership. And I'm so excited to team up, as I mentioned, with Uncorrelated Alts and be a part and really leading their family office day. And I have some one-of-a-kind programming. You got a little hint at it. Other parts of it are up on the website. But even that agenda, we're adapting a little bit. And really the incredible people, some of them I call my fixers, that are going to be a part of it. And we're just going to throw incredible topics and some live forum discussions and just go through, like, bring us your biggest problems. Like, this is going to be really a lot of fun. It's not many things in the world that get me too excited, but anything relative to the family office community, New York Giants football, not a lot to be excited about this year. And Oklahoma Sooner, Boomer Sooner, a little bit to be excited. We made the playoffs. We're up 17-0 and well, didn't have the outcome that I wanted, but I appreciate the year and look forward to next year. So on that note, I'm going to take a brief look. Is that R. Adam Smith? I believe the beard is thicker. I'm not making as many public appearances the last month. I've been a little bit sick, although I feel energetic now. I'm back to my cigars and a little bit of whiskey once in a while. A little trip to Wyoming, so that's been a lot of fun as well. So yes, I'm letting the beard rock maybe a little bit more than I did a month or two ago. Okay, some interesting other comments. Learn from yes, Olivia, absolutely. And that's one thing that maybe here in America, a lot of the family offices, there's exceptions, the Rockefellers, DuPonts, and others, but that have a history of 5, 7, or more generations. And the person that I referenced in the interview, there's 2 interviews I did with him about a year and a half to 2.5 years ago. So there's a couple, Octavian Pilati, whose family, and he's open about it, goes back 1,100 years, and what they've been through. Like, it's an amazing story. He's been a friend. I haven't seen him in a while. You remind me to reach out to him. So as I prepare for Miami, I could get some great insight and stories from him that perhaps I could share with many of you as well. But this past year in LA, interviewing Lorenzo Medici and getting to know him, he's about like 6'7", and other incredible families. When I was in Austria interviewing the Habsburgs, there's so much to learn. It doesn't mean they're perfect. It doesn't mean they're doing everything right. But understanding philosophy and history and understanding that it may rhyme if it doesn't exactly repeat, and lessons we can learn. But on that note, I will add, the world is very different now than it was even really 10 years ago, let alone 50 to 100 years ago. Some of you would say it's better and safer than ever before. And in some ways, you're not incorrect. But you look at the political strife, geopolitical tensions, some of the wars going on, many countries being nuclear, and really the big one, that I'm getting to, AI is underhyped. It's going to change everything. Listen to me and Jordy tomorrow. There's some things we're perfectly aligned with, and others I'm a little bit more negative, that I think we're going to have grave challenges with. And we're going to rock that and go a little back and forth on that. I give my members the frameworks in my books relative to that, the 3 masterclasses I did, the access they get to me, and still I feel I'm underutilized relative to a lot of that. And I'm doing things with AI in the family office and some of it behind the scenes that no one else in the world is doing. And it's exciting. And trust me, I've made every mistake. I'm not saying everything I do turns to gold. Hopefully some of it does. So, oh, boy, the comments are really coming in. I guess the cowboy hat is not always a hit with a lot of people. Oh well, it is what it is. At this, at my current age, my friend, I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, and look the way I want to look and have a hat and a beard the way I want to have it. And that's effectively just how it is. Well, on that note, I appreciate all of you. Hopefully, you'll have a chance to listen live to me and Jordy Fisher. That will probably wrap me up. My members are going to get the Billionaire Mastermind book and other things and initiatives in a private video for them of the initiatives mainly in 2026. But I did want to come on, wanted to be back in front of the camera, talk about Uncorrelated Miami, what I'm doing there with Family Office Day, and putting on a incredibly unique program that just reach out to them, reach out to me, inquire about it. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to meet in person, for you guys to be a part of what I'm doing and they're doing. I'll leave that up to you, but I appreciate you. All of you enjoy a wonderful holiday season. And not that I'm the most politically correct guy in the world. I guess I'm not. Hey, I am Catholic, so I am going to say this is Christmas week. I wish all of you not just a happy holidays, but a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year as well. I appreciate all of you. And please give me feedback. I actually prefer negative and challenging feedback more than positive feedback. Even at my current age, I have more questions than I have answers. I'm a lifelong learner. There's so much more to learn, and I'm so excited. And many of you have much to teach me. Always be learning, everyone. And habits. I heard the Indiana football coach, Signetti, give an amazing analysis of habits are a choice, and effectively the habits you have, the discipline you show is going to be part of your worth and your utility in a more challenging world moving forward. So much, and that's some of that I actually entered into my Billionaire Mastermind book, which I'll do a little synopsis probably after the first of the year and share some insights more broadly on that. But I have a dinner to catch, things to do. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing some of you perhaps at Family Office Day, January 26th in Miami. My incredible friends at Uncorrelated, they do an incredible job. I appreciate them. Thank you all so much. Oh, some nice comments coming in. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Angelo. Looking forward to learning more. I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and Christmas. Spend time with your families. Appreciate the opportunity. And not to end on a little bit of a negative note, the next 5 to 7 years are going to be very, very interesting. And I think many of you, I don't care how much money you have, are woefully underprepared. Woefully. That's why I did sovereign risk and disaster preparedness for the super rich and their family offices. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you for your time.